that, as well as how do you see that momentum and that number growing in the times ahead?
Yeah, good morning, good morning. And I think on the ground, things are absolutely very, very comfortable. So if you look at, I think April, May, June has been reasonably a range-bound period. However, July has been a very, very strong month, and we believe that that strength is still strongly visible on the ground. And I'll not be surprised if the number would be upward of more than 29,000 crore for the month of August. Because if I tell you, because see, at our end, Prudent has crossed 1,000 crore of SIP mark in last month, and we closed the month at 1,062 crore in the current month. So I think the people's participation in the retail wealth management story of India is very, very robust. And I can tell you that is also on the back of, if you look at last 1 year, SIP return is in the range of 1-2%. If you look at last 3 years, SIP return is probably closer to a double digit, roughly about 9-10%. So in spite of there being a subdued return from the market in last 1 and 3 years, participation from the retail is very, very strong. And that's a very, very positive indication I want to communicate.
Mr. Shah, so sounding optimistic. Hi, morning. High commissions payout is something that we're seeing in the industry at play right now. Help us understand if this trend will continue going ahead, and what are some major triggers that you're seeing on ground?
So I think if you look at the SIP, if you look at the commission number, let's say for example, I'll just give you my number. So last year my revenue grew by almost about 42%, right? However, if you look at my average AUM, that also grew by about 42.5%. So if the commission is increasing, its commission is increasing because of the huge growth in the AUM also. So it's not that the industry is earning unreasonably very high. If you look at the average blended yield at the AUM level, I think we believe that the earning is in the range of 45 to 50 basis points for the people, which include the entire asset class. So that's a reasonable earning, which I understand. And growth has came mainly post-COVID, because I think I'll just give an example. In the entire AUM basket of the industry, the equity has grown significantly larger. So equity, if I look at March 21, equity was roughly about probably 44-45% of the total AUM. Now that AUM, the equity contribution has moved to 57%. So the equity is increasing very, very rapidly, and equity is a full fee business. If you look at liquid, the distributor earn in the range of 10-15 basis points, while in case of equity, you earn in the range of 90 to 100 basis points. That's the reason I think commission figure might be looking a little bit elevated.
Indeed, but Mr. Shah, with respect to the distribution as well, even the industry bodies taking a lot of the steps in the right direction, and in the latest, they seem to be tying up with the Postal Department for distribution. How do you see that the distribution overall, what factors that are at play, and how do you see that growth trend shaping up? And along with this, the Postal Department collaboration, how significant this could be?
I think it's a very, very significant step in the right direction, because today, still after talking about the growth of mutual fund industry, we are seeing hardly about 5.5 crore people who has invested in the mutual fund. And mutual fund is the right way of participating in the India's financialization story. And for that, we require fleet on the street. And today, if you look at in the country, there are hardly about 1.5 to 1.75 lakh mutual fund distributors. So unless you don't have large number of people who can go and explain the power of compounding, power of participation in the equity, power of investing for a longer term nature, I think the participation will not increase. So it's a very, very strong step. If you look at the MFI vision paper, which talks about this number has to actually grow from 1.5 lakh, 1.75 lakh to 10 lakh, and probably 1 lakh added through postal would be a very, very positive step.
And once again, shifting focus to the distribution commission that is tied to the AUM of clients, could you help us understand what the demand trend is if you bifurcate this demand coming in from both tier 1 as well as non-tier 1 markets? What's the overall share here?
So if you look at, I think industry as a whole has probably grew almost significantly larger as far as tier 2 AUM is concerned, or we call it as a B30 AUM is concerned, beyond 30 cities. Sorry, yeah, so beyond 30 cities, AUM has been now roughly about 29-30% of the total market, which used to be roughly about 20% in last before 3-4 years. So from 20% it moves to roughly about 29%, almost 8 to 9% additional AUM has came from beyond 30 cities. And with this initiative of bringing postal department people on the sell side, I'm sure that's going to be a great efforts to bring a lot of money from the beyond 30 cities.
But Mr. Shah, some of the other interesting aspects with respect to more participation in the equity markets, where we see that on one hand there are more regulations on the F&O side, but on the other side the government is trying and taking some strict steps to actually taper down the kind of gambling that we have seen on the real money gaming, cryptos, etc. Do you believe there stands a case where we can see more participation, even directly, indirectly, through these means, that the people who were interested in these sort of markets, they can really shift to the equity markets in some time?
Well, I think it's a right way also, right? Because, and I believe that gradually people now realize that right investment and creating a right wealth is the better approach, and your money should also work some point of time rather than you only work for yourself. So once your all these avenues which gets closed, people will definitely, because if you look at in the gambling, if you look at in the F&O, at the end of the people lose money significantly. If you look at the F&O, people lost something about 2,80,000 crore, and that's a huge amount. Now, if you are able to curtail those losses or diversion of money to a gambling, I think that money can definitely be properly channelized into a productive asset class. And these are the money, if you look at the way the money is going to the IPOs, money is available to the promoters for the new businesses, that is where you are trying to create the business culture also by providing the risk asset class through mutual funds. And DI has become very powerful in last, specifically post-COVID compared to FIIs.